Hey everybody, this is Frankie Abbruzzino with the Uncensored Report, the Scoop News, whatever you want to call me that. Let me go ahead and share this with some pages. Basically, you know, obviously I read a lot of news. I read news on a daily basis, probably more than I really need to. And I've been coming across a lot of articles, as most of you have probably been coming across, about sexual predators, teachers preying on young kids, on our youth. And it just got me thinking. Then I was reading another article today, and often these rants, or these, hey Robert, often these rants will come from just some of the literature that I've read out there, and, you know, get you thinking about stuff. And so you go out, you do your little rant, and plus today I'm totally caught up somehow. I don't know how, because I was in the weeds for the longest time. So let me share this on one more page, or group. Actually, this is the group. And we'll get going. I do have my computer up. If you guys want to shoot any questions my way during it, I'll try to pay attention to it. Let me get that up here so I can see it. I try to address your questions. If you're a troll, I'll just delete your ass. Get rid of you. All right, here we go. And so I started thinking about all this stuff, and you know, like I do on all these things, when I review them, I look them over, and you start to piece together different things that you want to converse about, things that are issues to you. And a lot of this came from, I don't know if you saw it, her name was Brittany Zamora, and she's out of Arizona. She's a middle school teacher. She was just arrested. Fairly attractive lady, very attractive. And you know, that old saying, a lot of guys will sit there and say, where the hell were these teachers when I was in high school? But I don't know, I'm not sure what gets into them, and it's hard for me to understand this, but she sexually assaulted a 13-year-old. I guess she performed with the child various acts in the classroom and in her car. And the list goes on. There's others like, and you could get them confused if you don't pay attention. There was a middle school teacher arrested this month for having sex with her student. The kid was, I believe, about 14 in that case, and this is someone that was down here in Florida. You had the public school sex abuse case from this week up in Maryland. That was a guy this time, and he was an elementary school teacher. You had another one where there was a school teacher that was 62 years old. He was arrested about 2 days ago attempting to have sex with a 15-year-old. Here in Venice, oddly enough, you had that guy that was just arrested, that was a school teacher back in Venice High School, I guess when I went there, back in the early 80s. And he had several, I think it was 40 counts of child pedophilia, performing sex acts and stuff on his computer. So you got case after case after case, and it's overwhelming, and it's like week after week where you see this stuff. And they involve a lot of the public school teachers. And the question is it part of an ongoing epidemic that's out there, an ongoing epidemic of sex abuse in our public schools? Is it something that many people have chosen to ignore? Individuals have chose to, they know it's happening, and they just don't want to focus on it. Our schools, you would think from all this attention that, actually they're not getting attention from MSM, from all these arrests are crawling with sex predators. And there was a study, it was commissioned by the Department of Education. They found that 1 out of 10 public school students are targets of sexual misconduct. And guess by who? By their teachers. That's 1 in 10, folks. It works out, they said it's something that works out to like 4 million victims experiencing sexual assault. 1 in 10 targets of sexual misconduct by their teachers. What do you think about that? This is 100 times worse than the Catholic Church. And don't even get me going on the Catholic Church. I'm baptized, I'm Catholic, you don't even want to get me going. It just sickens me what's happening over there. How about the Pope saying there's no hell yesterday? I'm not going to get sidetracked though. There's Sue. Sue's in the house. So the question is, does the institutional sex abuse generally clear itself up if it's ignored? Because so many people are ignoring the abuse that's happening within our educational system. You know, I get a lot of shock and awe. You put it out. There's a lot of people who say, oh my God, that teacher. had sex with that guy. You know, the guys are like, hey, where was she when I was young? If it's a guy doing it to a young lady, a lot of them are like, oh my God, let's castrate him. But then it all disappears. And nobody focuses on how often it is happening in school. And that statistic, folks, that is from the Department of Education that I just read. Again, 1 in 10 public school students are targets of sexual misconduct by teachers. It's crazy. And until I started reading this article and doing some other stuff, I never really focused on that. And if you even look beyond that with the abuse of student on student, AP found that 17,000 cases of student-on-student abuse over a 4-year period. You know, this is boys and girls. They go out, they harass each other, they sexually assault each other. Some have been raped, sodomized. We all remember, I think it was girls that sodomized another kid that was mentally disabled a couple years ago. I can't remember the specifics. But it's just terrible. And this is happening within our public school systems. And again, I am live if you want to ask any questions on there. Feel free. I keep looking back at my laptop over here. But there's hundreds of deviants, hundreds of perverts, apparently, that are working within the school system. And I know a lot of teachers, a lot of administrators, and even parents are going to be like, oh, you're an idiot, Frank. That's not happening. But then again, statistics don't lie. Statistics from the Department of Education don't lie. I'm not creating this stuff. The problem is it gets ignored by so many. So you got to ask, why don't we care? Why aren't we out there? Why isn't there a national conversation about this crisis? Because it is a crisis. You know, why isn't there some kind of criminal investigation? Or why aren't parents out there demanding an investigation? You know, you see a lot of focus on the, if you use the Catholic Church and everything that's going on there, but then situations come up that doesn't meet your narrative, like Hollywood, and everybody's kind of quiet about it. Where is the Me Too about these kids? Where are the students at high school rising up for some kind of control over that, like they have for the Second Amendment, to take down the Second Amendment? A high volume of female abusers are out there. And the question is, and this article did a good thing at it, they said, is that interfere with the feminist narrative? Is that why we're not having that conversation? Because a lot of these teachers that are doing it are female? Are we not talking about it because they're almost saintly teachers? You don't want to criticize them? You know, and they could also question, do you think it's happening more? I don't know. Jen's asking a good question. Do you think it's happening more now? Or just being reported more because we're in that 24-hour cycle? And that is a good question. That study didn't go into that, Jen, unfortunately. So I don't know if it is something we're just hearing about it more because there's that 24-hour news cycle. It's a good question. But they, you know, a few articles are out there, but if you look at all this stuff, they call them numbing agents. You know, you look at the fact that the female teacher may be attractive, and they're the only ones that get media attention, so you're not as focused on it. Because, you know, what did I name off? I named off, 4 or 5 cases that just happened over the last 2 weeks. The 6-year-old, the man, and then the 2 women teachers. So 4. That's an awful lot. You know, when will we wake up? When will we wake up from this stupor that we apparently are in and decide to do something about it? What actions can be taken to ensure this doesn't happen, that these deviants aren't hired in the schools? I can almost guarantee you that teacher that worked at Venice High School, and I think they said he was there in '83. I don't know when he left there. How many of us... And I just got sidetracked because I started thinking of another teacher that was there, Lamort. You guys remember Lamort? Coach Lamort. I think he used to hang out with the football coaches. Hated that bastard. And I think Sue's on here. I think I had Sue in my history class with him. Hated that guy. I remember one time he hated me because I was a surfer or a bum, whatever. I remember he was going over slavery. He had me stand up on a chair in front of the class as he hit me with his ruler in the back. I don't know if anybody else remembers that. But this guy ended up sexually abusing a bunch of individuals. I think they were swimmers. A few people in my class. He ended up going to jail. He just recently got out of jail a couple years ago. Nobody talked back then. Nobody said anything. You know, I feel sorry for those guys. And right around that same time, some of my friends, I'm not going to name their names, were at Epiphany and were being sexually abused there too. So, you know, to answer Jenny's question, I think it has been going on for a long time. I think it's been just this 24-hour cycle's brought more attention to it. I think it's been continued to get ignored because people don't want to accept it's happening. They don't want to realize it's happening. They don't want to take the action that may be necessary to get out there and prevent it from happening. Obviously, there are deviants out there. Obviously, they're getting through the system. And can you, you know, the question I guess is can the administrators at the school systems really put enough checks and balances in place to prevent some deviant from getting a job? And you really can't. I can probably tell you that I know when Lamort, I knew his kids, I never thought the guy was a freaking pervert. And I can tell you that most people didn't think Lamort was a pervert. Yeah, Nassar, excellent point. Nassar, you know what, too, Nassar? It's funny you should bring him up. There's an article. I don't know if I could Google it in time. They're talking about how a lot of people felt sorry for him within the system and what happened to him. But she brought up how long Nassar went on with the gymnast. What was it, 160, 180 kids? And sometimes, I believe when he was doing the surgical thing or in the exam room, I believe parents were in there sometimes, if my memory serves me right. Let me see if this news story is in here real quick on Nassar. MSU trainers knew Nassar issues but are still on the job. That came out 8 hours ago. MSU PR firm confirms it monitored Nassar's victims' social media. That came out 19 hours ago. So in this case, and I think in a lot of cases, people know what's happening and they're not taking action. Perfect example. What's that idiot's name? God, the guy at Penn State. Is it Penn State? The coach. Nittany Lions. Paterno, his coach. Oh, God, what was his name? He's dead now. And his son just went to jail, I think, for the same thing. They're saying everyone knew about that it was pretty much common knowledge, but no action was being taken. But, you know, getting back to the focal point of what this is about is the public school situation. And again, if you're just joining, this is not me creating this stuff. You see it in the news cycles all the time. I just went over 4 cases that happened in the last 2 weeks. The thing that really caught my eyes is that study. And again, I'll repeat it. A study commissioned by the Department of Education found that 1 in 10 public school students are targets of sexual misconduct by teachers. You add in the target of sexual misconduct by students on student, and we got a bad situation. I personally wonder, what's Sarasota County doing about it? And, you know, I would ask them, but they never get back to me. I asked them, there was a suicide there. I asked them about, what's your policy when a parent writes you and says, hey, this is the situation. It happened, it was a couple months ago, so I'm okay talking about it. I'm not going to name names, not going to name schools. But the parent contacted me. She wanted to send me the note and stuff, and I said no, and the pictures, I'm like, no. Basically, a girl received a letter from a friend, and the way he was talking led her to believe he was going to commit suicide. And let me get to my other screen. I can see if you guys are asking questions on there. Let me mute this. How do I mute it? Here we go. So, there, I can see this questions in front of me. So basically, he said she got really concerned the way he was talking, and he gave her this suicide note. She didn't know what to do. She didn't open the note, and so she gave it to her best friend, who's a homeschooler. She opened it up and said, you know what, we need to get this to my mom, an adult. I don't know what to do. So they brought it to her mom, and the mom's the one that contacted me. The mom read it, heard what happened, tried contacting the school at 2:10, 2:15. School was just about to get out. And this is here in Sarasota County. A substitute teacher answered the phone within the administrative building. she kept saying, this is what's happening. I'm afraid this guy's going to commit suicide. I think he's getting on the bus. Standusky. Thanks, George. And we need to do something. You need to do something. He didn't know what to do. He got all freaked out. He sent her to the SRO voicemail. She called back, said, you got me to SRO voicemail. I need to talk to someone. You need to get this guy if he's still at school or if he's getting on the bus. He forwarded her to the assistant VP. Voicemail again. She calls him and says, are you an idiot? I don't know if she said that, but finally she's like, look, it's getting close to 2:30. He's probably getting home already. Let me call the police. They called the police, and the police were there, and the kid basically was taking a picture of the cops saying, oh, the cops are here, the fucking pigs, or something like that. Showed a picture of his gun, and next thing you know, he shot himself. And, you know, a lot of times I put out communications that are not directly stating what